Welcome to the Finance Room. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about Ethereum, the asset. And one of the best websites to evaluate Ethereum, the asset, is with the website Ultrasound Money. So if we look at it, we're actually net deflationary with a burn of approximately 300,000 ETH since September 22. So that was actually the move from proof of work to proof of stake. That's the merge here. And since then, we have been deflationary. And so that's a big advantage over, for example, an inflationary asset like Bitcoin. And to be honest, I see Ethereum, the asset, more like a bond nowadays. Because Ethereum, when you stake it, it pays you out this yield. And when you consider that the asset is deflationary, you get the yield plus the deflationary advantage, especially if you live in a country where your own currency is not really resistant to inflation, like Argentina. Such an asset like Ethereum can be very lucrative. To understand the future of Ethereum, I think you have to be in mind that there are forces in play which benefit Ethereum, and there are also forces in play that kind of reduce the fee model. For example, there's this new EIP 4844 that will reduce the fees on layer 2s and therefore also on Ethereum. That is maybe bullish, maybe not. I think we will just see how it goes in the future. But a big driver of future demand is definitely those layer 2s. So if you look at the biggest consumers of Ethereum block space, there's Uniswap, but in the future there will be more layer 2s like Arbitrum, ZK Sync, Starkware, Linear. And when you consider that Starkware and ZK Sync and Linear, for example, they don't have a token yet. And when you consider that once they have a token, probably more liquidity and more, just more money in general will be attracted through those networks. I think it's net positive for Ethereum, the asset in general. Okay, then next we have Eigenlayer. I think Eigenlayer is the hot new topic. So when you consider how staking is usually done, first there was traditional staking, then those liquid staking derivatives or tokens came on to play a big role on Ethereum or on proof of stake networks. So yes, restaking is basically enabling you to earn additional yield. And at the moment, it's quite attractive to farm the protocol because the protocol doesn't have a token yet. And you can earn points on here, and those points will definitely be worth something. So my expectation is at least that each point will give you probably at least $0.4 per point. So Eigenlayer can be lucrative, but it's definitely very capital intensive. And when you think about what function Eigenlayer serves within the cryptographic realm, I think users deposit their funds into Eigenlayer, and Eigenlayer then gets the opportunity to slash you in a big slashing event if one occurs. And for bearing that risk, users get paid additional yield. And Eigenlayer, as I said, gets the opportunity to slash you. So they do that because other protocols can tap into Eigenlayer's security, basically those funds that are invested on the platform. And those protocols, they get the advantage of having additional security from the get-go. So Eigenlayer is basically redistributing Ethereum's mode, which is security at the moment, through Eigenlayer to every other protocol that wants to tap into Eigenlayer. So it's really attractive from a developer perspective and from a security perspective when using new protocols. All right, so next I wanted to highlight EigenDA. So EigenDA is a Validium. So if you're a layer 2, you can decide to use an additional data availability layer to save on gas fees on Ethereum. So you could either choose to go with Celestia, or you could now choose EigenDA. And EigenDA is in particular interesting because it has better security assumptions built in the protocol, since you're restaking with Ethereum anyway. And when you use Celestia, as a user, you would have to make additional trust assumptions with Celestia. So if you use EigenDA, it's a more secure way to use Validium as a layer 2 in combination with a data availability layer. Furthermore, I wanted to highlight a post from Crypto Maestro. So that take was quite good. The left take curve about Eigenlayer is about liquid restaking tokens. The middle curve take is about EigenDA. And lastly, the right take curve is about those additional services launching on top of Eigenlayer. I think those are long-term the highest value driver for the protocol itself. And Eigenlayer is converting in sort of an Amazon Web Services itself. So as you can see, at the moment, you can't deposit any more ETH. But I think that will change on January 28th. And until then, you could also use EtherFi. EtherFi is especially cool because they use only native restaking. So they're using this here, they're depositing their ETH in here, and then they spin off an additional token, EtherFi. And when you stake with EtherFi, you get the Eigenlayer points as well as the EtherFi points. So it's quite interesting. Okay, next I found this interesting slide which estimates how much ETH Eigenlayer point will be worth in the future or could be worth. So they're estimating here that there will be a total of 3.5 billion points. And given that the protocol will airdrop 10% at a 16 billion valuation, each point would be worth approximately $0.46. So I think that's quite accurate in my opinion. And it's a good framework to evaluate how much the airdrop could be worth. And if we also check out the Eigenlayer docs, when we check them out itself, you could estimate how many points you will earn in the future. So it's explained here that if you restake 1 ETH for 10 days, you are receiving 240 restaking points. And with that overview in mind, you can have an approximation of where you will end up with your points in terms of dollar value. And that's just something I wanted to highlight here. Okay, so summing up, I think Eigenlayer is a very interesting protocol. And as of this recording, there are a total of 670 million ETH deposited on Eigenlayer. And I think that number is only going to increase. Because at the moment, slashing events are not, or slashing is not yet live on mainnet. So the actively validated services, once they come live on mainnet, they do not have to think about how they're going to use those slashing events. At the moment, it's a bit risk-free. So, but once those slashing events are enabled on mainnet, I think then it will be really interesting to see how big the protocol can get and how much ETH can be attracted by Eigenlayer itself. And lastly, as a disclaimer, none of those topics discussed in this episode were any financial, legal, or tax advice. So please bear that in mind that we only exchanged opinions here and you can definitely lose what you put in. All right, that's it for today and see you until next time. Bye.